Welcome, everybody, to the Casual Shooters podcast. So, this is day 2 of Carry Optics Nationals. The super squads, both the men and women, they have completed their shooting for the day. So, we are going to talk about the results and what we're looking like going into day 3. So, what I have on the screen here is exactly what we have going on right now. So, if you look over here, what I have done is compared, this is the men's super squad, day 1 to day 2. So, what we have, you had John Vlieger. If you remember my update yesterday, John Vlieger was in the lead by about 1.7 points over Nels. Then you had Jay Beal, Max Michel, Mason Lane, Christian Seiler, Garen Singleton, Trace Decker, JJ, and Shane Coley rounded out the top 10. Well, they've shot a whole nother day now, and obviously things have changed. Christian Seiler and Nils are only 81/100ths of a point away from each other. That's all that's separating first and second going into day 3. So basically what you have is a draw, a dead tie going into day 3 between first and second, Christian and Nils. They both have a total possible points of 2,114. Right now, Christian has 1,239 and 95.9547. Nils has 1,239.1482. Super thin margin. Third, you have Max. Now, Max was 4th yesterday, so he's moved up a position, and he's about 16 points behind. Now, he was 17 to 18 points behind, so he's kind of stayed on pace, whereas Christian has moved up because yesterday Christian was about 30 points behind. So he made up those 30 points. Now, you've got Jacob in 4th today, and Jacob was down a ways. Let's see where he was at. He was 15th and 50 points behind. So now, he's 50 points behind yesterday. Today, he's 39 points. So he made up about 11 points in the day, but that's on the lead. He obviously made up some other a large margin on other people because he is in 4th and not 15th. So he is right there. Now he's got a little bit of a climb to catch Max for 3rd. So to still get on the podium, he's got quite the climb, and Max Michel is not an easy one to catch. So that's going to be a difficult climb. Now you've got John Vlieger, who was in 1st, now in 5th. And he's about 11 points behind. You have Garen. Garen Singleton was 7th yesterday. He's 6th today, so he made up some room. Look at that, Lane Grease. Let's see where Lane was yesterday. Okay, Lane was 11th. Today he's 7th, but he's looking good. I'm not sure what happened with Jay. Let me see what Jay was up there yesterday. Jay was 3rd, and now today he's 8th, and he is like 65 points behind? Yeah. So Jay won stage 5 yesterday. Today, let's see. Well, he was 65th on his last stage. I'm not sure what happened there. And he was 39th on stage 10. Doesn't look like anything, just Alphas and Charlies, but that's obviously what hurt him today were those two things. So continuing down, you have Jay Beal at 8th, you have Jeremy Story at 9, and you have Brantley Merriam at 10. So there's your top 10. If you notice on the left, JJ is not in the top 10. JJ is out of the running for this year's Nationals. He had a squib on stage 11 and zeroed a 120-point stage. So his run for this year's national championship is over. Now, thinking of that for just a moment, though, Nils and Max are the only other two winners of Optics Nationals. There's been 7 of them. 5 of them were won by Max consecutively, the first 5. Then JJ won number 6. Nils won number 7. And now that leaves us where we're at this year. So Nils and Max are second and third. So there's still the chance that we won't have a different Optics National champion. However, Christian Seiler being tied for first is probably the best chance because, again, Jacob is almost 40 points behind. You might as well call it 40 points behind. It's like 39.89 points behind. So we'll round it to 40. That when you've got Christian, Nils, and Max in front of you and you're going to try to make up 40 points, I wish you all the luck in the world. That's more of an uphill climb than Mount Everest. So I wish you luck. Now, let's go back down. So 11, you have Trace Decker. 12, you've got Shane Coley. Now, Shane was 10th, I think, yesterday. So he dropped a little bit. Mike Seeklander's at 13. He was at 14th yesterday, so he did well today. Brian Jones is 14. Mason Lane, obviously something happened because Mason dropped from number 5 to number 15. That's a huge drop for him. So let me go down here and see if we can figure out what we've got. Okay, there you go. Stage 11. So the same stage that JJ squibbed and zeroed the stage on, it looks like Mason was 91st. He had a no-shoot. There we go. So he had 16 alphas, 8 Charlies. So he had a 24-round count stage. Time was 18:56, but he had a no-shoot. So his hit factor was down. So he only got 86% of the points thus far. He could move further down. I mean, we still have another day going, and there's another group of people that have to shoot those stages tomorrow. So something could change, but chances are it's not going to improve his situation. So that one, and the stage before that, he was 42nd, where he got 91% of the points because he had a mic. So that looks like it was a 32-round stage. He got a 6-7 hit factor, but he had 27 alphas, 4 Charlies, and a mic. And that mic is obviously what hurt him. So he had 2 back-to-back that hurt him, ended up dropping him from 5th to 15th. That hurts. Aaron Eddins is 16th. Andrew Hyder, 17th. Sean Griffith, 18th. Jared Clanton, 19th. Luke Cow, 20th. Now, let me say this. Let me go back and qualify something here. These people that I'm ranking are just Super Squad A and B. It's not including anybody else. Because if you go and look right now, Dazzy is lighting it up, but he's not on the same shooting schedule. So, if you add in other people, these numbers change. This is just the top 20 of the 24 in the 2 super squads, okay? So that's where we stand. The biggest thing here, the biggest takeaway is that race for number 1 is going to be crazy. With Christian and Nils in a dead heat, less than 1 point separating the 2 going into day 3, this is where their mental fortitude is going to be challenged. Because tomorrow they want to shoot their game. They don't want to get outside of their game. They need to, as Nils said on my podcast, you want to shoot your strengths. So it's going to be that whole mental management game of shoot your lane, know what you're good at, and shoot to your strength. So it's going to be very interesting. I would say it would be tight for Jay to get anything above fifth, Jay Beal or Jeremy Story or even Brantley Merriam. All right, so this is what I'm going to say. Numbers 6 through 10 are all in contention still for number 5. They could all still make it into the top 5. It's going to be harder to make it to the top 4 because Jacob's lead, like Jacob has a lead at number 4, 15 points over number 6. Can Garen make that up? Yes. But it's also going to require some help from Jacob. And then Lane is another 10 points down, Lane Grease. Jay's 1 point behind him, as is Jeremy, and Brantley Merriam is 5 points behind them. So that in order for Brantley to get into the number 4 position, he'd have to make up roughly 31 points on Jacob, and that's a tough one to do. So that's where we're at. So those are your men. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to try to put some video footage together and talk about the stages for tomorrow, but I'll do that tomorrow morning before the Super Squad goes live in the afternoon. So let's talk ladies. All right, so here's day 2 of the ladies. Not much has changed. Morgan had a 16-point lead yesterday, and she has a 14-point lead today. So really only 2 points difference. So as long as she maintains tomorrow, she'll be number 1. Justine will be number 2. And look, these two are going to be doing this for years to come. All right. As long as these two are competing in this division, it's going to be these two like this until somebody else comes up. So you've got, because if you look, there's a big, big gap between Justine and Ashley Robertson. It's 124 points. I'm sorry, 126 points. So that's not a gap you make up unless something happens to Justine like happened to JJ. You have a squib, you zero a stage, you lose 120 points or, a whole bunch of 100 points, whatever it is. That's about the only way at this point you can make up that many points at one time or even throughout the day. So really what this comes down to is, I don't even know if it comes down to third. This is going to come down to 4th and 5th place, really. That's where your battle is going to be. 1st and 2nd between Morgan and Justine, and then 4th and 5th. I'd say Ashley pretty much has 3rd wrapped up as long as nothing catastrophic happens. If nothing catastrophic happens, then you have Jessica Jonathan, Linda Turnbull, Kay Lane, and Becky Yackley all looking at seeing who's going to come in at number 4 and number 5. Let me scroll down a little bit just to make sure I'm not leaving anybody out. Yeah, there's Jessie Morrow is another 22 points behind. So I don't see her being able to come all the way up to 4th. Could she make it to 5th? That's a tough one too, because she'd still have to make up 34 points on both Linda and Kay Lane, because those two are tied. So it's really going to come down to those 4th and 5th places down to about Becky Yackley. So Jessica Jonathan, Linda Turnbull, Kay Lane, and Becky Yackley all fighting for 4th and 5th place to be top 5. I think Ashley, again, as long as she doesn't have anything catastrophic happen, she's pretty much locked up 3rd. But, Jessica, who knows? Maybe she could squeeze her way into there. Now, I'm not sure. I didn't look, but Becky was 3rd yesterday. She's 7th today. So obviously something happened. Not sure. Let me see if I can look this up real quick. Yeah, it's hard to tell, really. It looks like her stage 12. Yeah, her stage 12, she hit a no-shoot. So that hurt her. She was 13 alphas, 1 Charlie, but a no-shoot. So that probably hurt her right there. And on stage 9, She had a mic. So she had a mic and a no shoot today, so that hurt her points. So that would explain the drop there. 8, 9, and 10 are all the same. Jesse Morrow, Gabby Franco, and Stephanie. I'm assuming that's single. Feel free to correct me. But again, Gabby, having had knee surgery, isn't going to be able to do much at all. Her movement is severely limited. So that's where we have it for women. So let's recap real quick. On the men's side, you've got Nils and Christian duking it out with Max right behind him. He's only 16 points behind. That he can make that up. So for number one, the top 3 people are all in contention. Could Jacob do it? Yeah, but I find it hard. Jacob making up 40 points on both Nils and Christian. That's the only reason I put him on the outside. But Christian, Nils, Max, all are viable options to be your 2023 Carry Optic National Champions. So it's going to be a heck of a race tomorrow afternoon. We'll have to watch it stage by stage and see how they do. And I will say good luck to everybody. And thanks for tuning in, guys.